Have you ever been frustrated? I mean, just in every world, have you ever been frustrated in your life? I mean, when you were talking with people, when you were trying to do sales, when you were trying to get out there and just have an interaction and you just got frustrated. Was that you? Is that something you've been through? If that's true, that's what we're going to talk about on the Everyday Leader tonight when we just discuss why your personality matters and what do you do about it? Like really what goes down to it. And then at the end of this, if you stick around to the end, I've got a free resource that I just put together for you. And I'm excited that you're here. And let's just kind of get this in here going, right? Last week I got some sound. Yeah. You guys hear that? We're going smooth today. Smoothness. Turn it down a little bit. So today on the Everyday Leader, we going smooth jazz. So guys, welcome to you guys here. Hey, do me a favor. If you're doing this live, why don't you hit up in the chat and just let me know you're here. Let's have a conversation. Say hello. For you guys who are new to me, if this is the first time ever watching this show, welcome to the show. We're so grateful that you're here. My name is Jim Burgoon, as you can see there on the screen, and this is the Everyday Leader Live, where we just do this every single week. We go live 7 p.m. on Fridays so that we can give you some value, that we can teach you how to get over those frustrating times and become a leader worth following. So here's the deal, guys. During the time, I'm going to give some information. I'm going to get some value. We're going to have some good conversation. I'm going to play some cool music. Are we excited? Ooh, right. So here's the thing. It's so fun. You get toys. You get to get toys, right? And you get to play with these things. So I want you to ask your questions live because that's where we're going to get a lot of our interaction. If you do live, I'm here not to just give you information. I'm here to make sure that I scratch the itch that you want to scratch and that you understand when you leave this show that you have understanding of what we talked about. So if there's any questions or comments, please drop them in. Let's have that conversation going. I'm going to say hello to my friend over there on Facebook, Jessica. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. And welcome to everybody else who have not commented yet, but are watching. And today, guys, I got something really special for you guys. Today, we're going to actually talk about something super cool. And it is something that I am very passionate about, and I think you should be passionate about as well. It's about you. Are you passionate about you? Is that your favorite subject? Because it's my favorite subject. And I hope it's your favorite subject because you should be your favorite subject. But what specifically about you? Like, it's about your personality. And I want to get into this conversation tonight about the personality because here's what I know. We'll start with a wisdom bomb. If you don't follow the hashtag wisdom bombs, guess what? I drop them every day on a lot of my social media. And here's the thing. Life is made up more than just events. It's made up of people. People like you and I, right? And people matter. So there is another next step to this. Let's hear this for 1 second. There is another logical next step. The next step is that if people matter, then if you are a people, then you matter. Right? So if you are somebody out there, if you're alive, if you're breathing, if you're part of the human race, you are a people. And so therefore you matter, guys. Like I was saying, you matter, my friends. And there's really something really to say about that because there's many of you guys out there who go through life and realize, or at least have something that you're carrying that say you feel like you don't matter. Like somewhere in your conversations, people are like, man, you're awesome. And then you're like, nah, not really. Or you're sitting there and somebody is having these things and you're like, man, you're the best person ever there. And you want to argue because somewhere you're like, I'm not good enough. Somewhere you're like, maybe if I was better, they'd like me. Or maybe if I was better, they'd give me much more attention, or they give me something more than what I'm getting. And you fight with this internal thing. It's an internal struggle where you're pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pushing and pushing, and you don't feel like you're ever getting anywhere, right? And I want you to understand, I want you to know that simply that you matter. And this is where we start. When we talk about your personality matters, your personality is the culmination of who you are. And if people matter, you matter. And I want to start that with this because you deserve this. You deserve to be told how much you matter. And I'm just going to give you a round of applause because that's how much you matter. Do you not like these sound effects, guys? I'm loving these sound effects. So here's the thing. So if we're going to do this and we're going to say you matter, and there we go. I think I just lost my thing. Look at that. We're having so much fun that we lost this. But if we say that you matter, I'm going to get into a personality not personality contest, but a personality profile that talks about the fact which is what is called DISC. And what DISC is DISC personality profiling is not something. It is a system of behavior and communication. It's a system of behavior and communication, guys. So if you are part of a system of behavior and communication, and guess what? We can get to a place where we know how people are going to act. We know how people are going to respond based on patterns, right? And I finally got my thing back. See, look, there's technical difficulties, but we flip around so nice. And I want to get into this thing where we talk about this. This is the fun stuff. We'll do this version on this one. See, listen, this breaks down into 4 types of personalities, right? 4. That's all it is. You're one of 4. And then sometimes you're a combination of 2, right? Sometimes you're maybe like it's DISC. Sometimes you're DI. Sometimes you're an ID. Sometimes you're an SC. Listen, I'm saying a lot of things that you may not ever heard before. Or maybe if you sat through a training with me on this, you've heard it, but maybe you want a little bit more information. But we're going to give you a little bit different spin tonight on why your personality matters and why it matters to understand your personality. And you're going to fall into a primary personality type, right? And that means you're going to be a driver. That's that D. You're a driver. You're the guy, the woman who's the hard charger. You're the one that's going to say, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. Nobody can tell me what to do, and we're going to get the job done because you're all about results. That's what a driver is. Do I have any drivers in the audience? Influencers, right? The people who influence. Not that you're not, drivers can be influencers, but this is somebody who is naturally an influential person. It's a high I, high energy. I am a high I personality. Everywhere I go, it's lots of energy, lots of fun, lots of attention that I need, right? So with that, the high energy people generally have shows, right? Talk shows. Hello, the Everyday Leader Live, which is where you're at. You know, we are people who love to be the center of attention. We're people who love to talk a lot, but there are balances with that. An S, if you're an S person, you like it soft. You slow it down. You like it where it's steady. Yeah, obviously it says steady there. No changes do you like. You do not like change. And maybe if you're an S in the audience, and I know I have some S's in the audience, but maybe if you're sitting there and you're an S, here's one of the things. S's don't like any surprises. They love predictability, and they love to be in relationship one-on-one with people. If you're a C, my wife is in the audience right now, right? She's listening here. If you're a C personality, you are somebody who likes to be able to crunch the numbers. You are a number cruncher. You are a data cruncher. You like A plus B must always equal C. Lots and lots of details. C's are your system people. I wanted to give you the broad overview of that because that some of you guys I know have sat through the training with me. Some of you I know have not been in a training with me, but I want to make sure that we're all together on the same place because if you've been on a training with me, you've probably not heard what I'm about to say about the 5 things. Actually, 5 things on why your personality matters today. But to get there, I want to be able to do these things where it just says, hey, let's do some basic introduction. Let's get these places where we're like, well, why? Why DISC, right? Because it's behavior patterns. It's communication style. It's behavior. It's understanding people. It's understanding people. That's really what DISC is about. It's understanding people. Now, I have tons of respect, and I do love my friends out there who are Enneagram people or who have MBTI people, the Myers-Briggs, and I can tell you all of those too. But I love DISC because DISC is like in a 5-minute conversation, I can probably tell you who you are and then speak the language that you speak. That's how that works. With MBTI, with Myers-Briggs, that's what MBTI is. With Enneagram, it takes a lot longer. In a single conversation, you may not peg where they are or who they are, but we want to make sure that we're getting people's personalities right when we're having these interactions. So when we have these interactions, I want to be in a 5-minute conversation to at least get a good bead on the way you receive things. So that when I have these places and I'm dealing with your personality and you're dealing with my overzealous, energetic personality, that no matter where we are, we can get into a place where we're having conversation and I can speak your language. I can speak in a way that really causes you to feel like you matter. Right? Like if you notice in the beginning of this, you guys have been around for a little bit. I actually started, I'm super energetic. And sometimes people like my wife, sometimes people have to tell me, yo, Jim, slow down, right? Because I talk fast. Other people love it. They're like, yeah, this is great. But if you notice something, there was a point when I talked about the S's, and if you didn't notice, I softened my tone. I said, "Hey, I got some S's in the audience." I got that like that. My tone is not low, but I'm not the Barry Manilow type here, so don't ask. I'm not that guy. But you slow it down. You're like, "Hey, how you doing?" Right? That's an S. Right? But you get into understanding this as time goes on. So let's just kind of say, let's do this really quick for the people that are watching, and maybe you're watching on replay. We value you too. If you're watching, here's what it is. What's your type? What's your type? Right? We're going to do a real quick thing. This is going to take like 30 seconds. Now, I do offer a very professional 30-page diagnostic assessment for this. This is just going to be like the 3-second, I'm this. And this is going to give you a good understanding to give you context of where we are. And before I jump into that, we did have Facebook user down there say, how did you do that? I don't know who this is, and because it says Facebook user. So please let me know in the chat who you are, and then answer the question. How did I do what? How did I drop my voice? I don't know. So tell me how did I do what? And I'll be happy to explain to you how I did that. Or whatever that was. Oh, I went the wrong way. Jonathan, welcome, my brother. Welcome, Jonathan. So here we go. This is just real quick, okay? This is just like an intro, really surface level. Probably really want to schedule time with me to go much deeper than this, but here's what it is. Are you an outgoing person or are you an introvert, right? Now, I want you to understand this. Extrovert and introvert doesn't mean you're like super, super out there and super reserved. It doesn't mean you're like jumping up on stages with microphones. Can you tell I'm an extrovert? But it doesn't also mean you're going to be hiding in an office with a book, right? Introvert, extrovert means how do you recharge? Do you recharge on the fact that you may be somebody who recharges with people, or do you recharge by getting alone? That's how you tell if you're an extrovert or introvert. Listen, so for you guys who are extroverts, right? With you guys who are extroverts like me, we get like really energetic with people. So guess what? When I'm done here, I'm going to be fired up because I got people watching me. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. If my wife, who's an introvert, did this, she would probably take 3 days to recover from something like this. So just kind of what it is. And so that's really what it comes down to. So are you an extrovert or an introvert? And then the other thing is, are you a task-oriented person or are you a focused-oriented or task? Blah, 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 blah. Got all these things happening. Whoa, what is up with that? So we're gonna give myself a little bit of a noise and just go, because I just made a mistake. Am I tripping up on my language there? So here's the thing. Are you a task person or a people person? And what that means is your first instinct. What do you gravitate towards? Hanging with people or doing things? That's what it is. And with that being said, whatever you picked, extroverted people, that's an I. Welcome to my side of the house. If you're an extrovert task, you're a D. If you're an extrovert or an introvert people, you're an S. If you're an introvert task, you're a C. All right. I want to give you this really quick overview. Like this was like boom. So we're going to jump into a little bit more in-depth questions and things like that. I do have a question I see in the audience, and I will answer that in 1 second. So here is what I want you and I to get on the same page. With this type of conversation, with this type of thing, we're going to really dive into just like, why do people matter? How do we get people to matter? How do we get the people to feel like they matter? And that was actually one of the comments right here is by Mary, is like, how do you make people feel so important? Right? How do you make people feel so important? Now, I can say that in the context of this conversation for a couple of reasons. How do I do it? Because I'm going to speak directly to you and tell you how important you are. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to tell you why you're important, that you showed up, that you're investing in your leadership. Guess why? Because here on the Everyday Leader, we're all about leadership development. So you who are sitting there right now, or who are watching, guess what? You're the most important person in the room because you're investing in your leadership development. You're investing in yourself. So you're important. I'm going to make you feel that way, right? But there are other ways to do this because here's the deal. When you understand people's personality, you can speak their language. And when you speak their language, you can make them feel really important. Like right now, I just got a text. See, we just got a text. So we're super, super excited about this. And one of my friends is watching me online right now. And she said she's watching me on the big screen in her house. And then my mom's watching too. So like, hi mom. Well, good to hear from you, mom. And then Rhoda, shout out to Rhoda, who's watching me on the big screen. I said, I finally made it. I'm on somebody's TV. Yeah, I am excited. It is exciting times when you make it on somebody's big screen TV. Ooh, you know, we get all excited. So, but hey, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. We have made it. It is good. Right. Oh, wow. We got to shut that. I forgot. They actually keep rolling. So here we go. Are you guys ready? Can you put in the comments you're ready to really jump into the thing? We're going to jump into the thing. And that thing is 5 reasons why your personality matters, right? I can do this. This is fun. This is where I can get to do these things. 5 reasons why your personality matters, right? Because this is what it's all about. And I'm going to give you the first reason. We're going to go up from 1 to 5. I don't have a bonus for you. Every week I kind of throw in a bonus one. So it really is 6. We're not going to tell anybody. Shh. Don't say anything, okay? There's really 6 each week, but this week is really 5. But here's the deal. I want you to, when we get to number 5, the last one, I want you to hang around because I want to give you, my new ebook, which is called Who Are You? And it's free to you. It's no charge. And I want to give it to you because this is going to go really much more in depth than this particular live will go in. So you're going to learn a lot. So if we're ready, and I see some people are saying ready in the comments, here we go. There we go. Number 1, tactics with no context. That's why your personality matters. So with that being said, all you guys in the audience, guess what? You're either here because you are trying to start a business, you lead at your church, you're a mom, your dad, you are a leader, right? But one of the things that we have a problem with, and this is, every week I do this thing where I call it my soapbox moment. I even made a little thing that says soapbox moment. So we're going to put this out because here's my soapbox moment for you guys. Here's the thing. We go out there and we either get a coach or we go Google. Some of you guys are incredibly Google genius, right? You just Google the thing, right? And when you Google the thing, I think I have a sound for that though. I'm not sure if I do, but yep. All you Google people, you hear that? You all Googling, right? I didn't know I had that, but I have that. So you're out there and you're doing the Google and you get these tactics from people and they say, hey, if you want to sell more, do this, 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 and this. If they have an objection, do this, 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 and this, right? You get these principles and these things that says, if you do this and this, then this happens. If you're a parent, there are no books on being parents. There's none. Like the ones that says, here's what you do to be parents. Man, you ain't had my kids. Right? So you have no idea how Hurricane Lily and Tropical Storm Gabrielle is having today, right? Some days Hurricane Lily ain't having it. And your book ain't going to tell me about what it means when she ain't having it, right? So you have no idea. So here's the deal. Here's what you and I have to understand is that your personality matters because it gives context to the tactics. I'm not going to sell the same way you're going to sell. I'm not going to be a parent the same way you're going to be a parent. Matter of fact, if you had a talk show and you're on my show right now, we are not even going to host our show the same way because I'm super energetic. I talk with my hands, but you can't see the hands rolling, right? And I've got sounds. I love fun and all this stuff. I'm not saying you don't love fun, but if you don't love fun, man, you need to learn how to love fun because that's what you're missing in life. But we're not going to have the same. So what it does is, and even some of you guys who are just like, you're just here for the party, and you're like, man, I'm a churchgoer, I lead at church. Well, guess what? Even church, here's the deal. Tactics without personality or with no context are just dead tactics and nothing are going to happen. You're just going to be like, hey, I'm going to do this. And people are going to see you as awkward and they're going to see you as just gimmicky and spammy in whatever context you're at. So if you understand your tactic, if you understand your context of your personality, and we did that earlier, and some of the people here are saying, hey, they're high Ds, and some of the comments are saying they're SCs and CSs and S's and Is. Love that we have such a great set of people here. But here's the deal, guys. Here's what I want to tell you. If you have your context, right, and you get a tactic, you don't have to do the tactic the way the other person does it, right? You learn how to do the thing inside your own personality and become a person who has context to the content, right? Because interaction doesn't happen in a vacuum. That doesn't happen in a vacuum. So if interaction doesn't happen in a vacuum, it means 2 I's aren't going to be the same I. 2 D's are not going to be the same D. And if that's true, I had to decline a phone call. Did you hear that? How rude of them to call on my show. Boo, right? Oh, we need a boo. Next week, I'm going to have a boo thing because that's going to be the thing. They get the chicken horn, right? So, or they can have this. They fighting words. We fighting like cats because they called during my thing. So I got to shut the sound off. I got to freaking remember that, you got to shut these sounds off. So there you go. So here's the deal. So here's the deal. So where was I? Pull it out of the sky. There we go. So interaction doesn't happen in a vacuum. So if I interact with you and you interact with me, we're not going to interact in the same way. So if I have to learn how to do the context and the content. So if I sit here and tell you, like, if we were going to do sales and I sit here and say, you know what, ask more questions, right? Don't just go up and give people everything that you like, boom, 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 boom. Don't just like vomit at the mouth and just tell people what they need and then expect them to say yes, right? High Ds are terrible for that. They just go up and they're like, here's what you need. Here's why you need it. Say yes, right? And oftentimes they're not wrong, but the deal is they could be a little less gruff. Eyes will come up and we're going to be like, yo, let's have fun. Let's talk about it. And we'll just talk for 3 hours and we'll remember in the end of 3 hours to actually ask you for the sale. But here's the deal. S's, they're going to talk forever and they want to build a friendship. C's, they're going to give you, here's A plus B plus C plus D plus Z, right? But if I told you how to do sales and says, go do this, like go and talk to somebody, ask more questions. And I say, if they give you an objection, here's how you break that objection, right? You can't just go do that in the same way that I would do that. You have to be able to get it into your own and, grab hold of it and to begin to transition it into your own personality type. So if I tell you like, okay, so let's just say, as you guys are throwing some things in the comments here, let's just say this, sell me this pen, right? There you go on the camera. One of my favorite pens. I love this pen. And I tell you, hey, sell me this pen because I really need this pen. And the way to sell it, I'm going to say, ask more questions. A D be like, do you need this pen? And I'd be like, yo, this is the most beautiful pen I've ever seen. And this is like, yo, what if somebody gave you a blank check, man? You need a pen to sign that thing, right? And blue, man. Who doesn't need blue? Oh, yeah. And And red. What do you need a pen? After 5 minutes of talking about pen, they're going to be like, oh, do you actually need a pen? A D would get right to the point, and I would just be talking and rambling and come to a place like, oh, do you even need a pen? And S be like, yo, they wouldn't say yo. They'd be like, hey, how are you today? How's everything going in your life? What can I do to help you? Oh, I have a pen. Do you need the pen? And the S may give you the pen and forget to sell you the pen. And we're here. The mission would be to sell you the pen. The S may be like, here, you take this. This is okay. A C would get up and say, this is a blue carbonite pen that has a 0.07 or a 0.7 pen thingy and it's gel. And they'll go into all the details. And you would like this pen. Do you want to buy it? Right? So you have to put it in the context of who you are. And that's why your personality remembers. The same way with your kids. Listen, some of you guys are out there parenting your children in different in ways where you're feeling shameful and guilt, right? But guess what? You parent your kids the same way. You won't parent your kids the same way that your spouse parents them. It's just not going to happen. So release yourself from the guilt. Release yourself from all that pain and that trauma and just say, I do things differently. Because that's my personality. He's like me and my wife, perfect example. I'm really fun and I don't always remember, right? So I got to do it little things. My wife is very by the book. You're going to do this at this time when this happens. Learn to put the context in there, and that's why your personality matters. Number one, you guys still with me? I know we were going through all sorts of sounds. We're going through all sorts of stuff, but we need it. Because we're going to go into number 2, I'm just enjoying the sound system, man. I'm just having fun with this. Number 2, it determines your approach. It determines your approach. This is why your personality matters, guys. This is why your personality matters, because it determines your approach. It determines how you approach people, right? And the key to approaching people is you don't approaching everyone the same way. It does not work. Right? You see my picture of a snake. I don't even know if you can see that, like right there, that snake. It's on my right. Or I could just do this. Look, I love this system because I can just flip it around and make it kind of go cross-eyed. But here's the thing. So the deal is that I wouldn't approach a snake the same way I would approach my puppy. Right? I wouldn't go up, yo, you're so cute. I probably get bit and die. But I would approach my puppy like, yo, this is cool. You're awesome. Oh, give me some love. I wouldn't approach my wife the same way I would approach some of you. Right? I don't go up there and say, yo, hot stuff, what you cooking, right? I'm not going to come up to you and approach you the same way I would approach my wife. Right? You've got to understand who you are, the context you are, how you operate, when you operate, where you operate, because guess what? Context determines your approach. Understanding your personality will determine how you approach it. So I know my personality is somebody who's very out there, very high, very like, high as an energy. Some of you guys get your mind out of the gutter. What is up with that? But I'm high energy. So if I see somebody and I just kind of take notice of them being a little bit more shy, I've got to learn to pull my energy back, right? If you're somebody who's like very driven, you're going to be like, and you may not notice people. I can actually get a little bit more energetic to get into a conversation. Your approach matters. And the way you approach people is all determined upon your personality and how you understand their personality. And when you match those two up, man, that's where the magic happens, guys. That's where the magic happens, because now if I can understand me and I can read people, I can match my approach to their approach, and then something beautiful happens. Connection. You get more sales. Your kids actually may listen to you. You actually may end up doing something greater in church or whatever you're at. Whatever your context of being a leader is, you are going to be somebody who can actually do something with someone else, because now you're on the same wavelength. Some of you guys are at a higher wavelength than the people you're trying to vibe with. And the problem with that is you expect them to come up to your wavelength instead of understanding the situation and go to their wavelength, right? You need to be on the same page, right? That's just how it rolls, my friends. That's how it rolls. Let's look at some of the comments, because I don't want to ignore you or realize that you're still with me. And I love every one of you guys. Jonathan, so good to see you. He's all ready to be here. Michelle's in the house. She says, I was a high D until I became severely disabled and needed several surgeries. You know, that brings up a great point. And I want everybody here to understand that trauma can change personality. Personality is fluid. So there is a personality core that was you when you were young that you still have when you're stressed. But then there is a what I want people to see, and then how I perceive myself. And with that being said, if you have trauma in your life, trauma can shift your personality, of your perception of your personality. Very, very good stuff there, Michelle. Thank you for bringing that up. She says, she continues, says, it changed. Now, after getting the surgery and making progress, I'm changing back. Again, you're going back to your core. Very, very normal, very natural. Facebook user. Don't know who Facebook user is, but I'm going to say this anyway. I am always on fire with too much energy, man. We vibe super good right there, Facebook user. Thank you very much for helping me understand that I am a normal person. Yes, you're a normal person. You are a normal person. We salute you, normal people. See, and we're going to go here. You are normal. See, I'm loving these things. So you are a normal person. But you got to understand that there are times when even being normal may be weird to others, and that's okay. You don't want to get into these places where you're like, yo, I'm just me, and I'm just like, I'm going to try to be somebody else because that's what somebody else expects. No, don't ever be anybody else. You matter. You matter. Oh, we need to hit the button. Let's hit the button. Soapbox moment. You matter. And I want you to understand how much you matter. You don't need to change for anybody. Now, there are blind spots that you have that you do need to adjust, because they're blind spots and they may be hurting everything you're trying to do. But understand this, understand this, is that you, my friend, are okay. And it's okay to be weird. And it's okay for people not to like you. If they don't like you, that doesn't matter. Then you're not their cup of tea, and they just need to go find some other tea, right? That's okay. We have to be okay and comfortable that not everybody's staying in my life. We have to be okay and comfortable that people come in and people go out. And we've got to be okay and comfortable. And hear what I want you to hear me. Please sit right here. Sit on this. Lean a little closer with me. Let's get a little closer, because here's what you need to hear. It's okay for you to tell somebody you're not going to adjust your personality to make them feel comfortable. Right? Because there are people out there that are so sensitive, and they're so at a place that everything offends them, that I'm not going to change who I am based on what you think. Now, I may soften. I may come to a place where I'm going to be a little less energetic. If you're somebody who needs less energy, I'm going to accommodate you to an extent, but I will not change me for you. Did you hear the difference? I want you to hear the difference. I will accommodate you, but I will not change me for you. There is a big difference, and I think some of you guys need to get a hold of that. We will not change for you, but we will accommodate for you. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to have fun, but I will not change me and I will not cost who I am in order for you to have that. And that's something you need to get in your life as well. Guys, if you'll do me a favor here, we do this every single week. We're not done yet. We got about halfway through. So we're having a great time here. We do this every single Friday. Listen, in the comments, if there's ever something that you want to hear talked about, hit me up. Let's talk about that. But I do want you to do me a favor. It does help me out. Hit the like button, comment down there, hit the subscribe button, share this with a friend, all those nice things, because we want to have a conversation, because we want to add value, because we're about leadership development. We're about helping you overcome those frustrations with interpersonal relationships, helping you overcome those frustrations with leading yourself, the frustrations you feel with communicating, right? Some of you guys are so frustrated because you don't feel like people get you. Well, I'm here to help people get you. Some of you guys are so frustrated because you're like, I want somebody to really understand me. Well, I'm here to help people understand you, because I know if people understand you and people get you, then you'll be a better leader. And that's what we're all about on the Everyday Leader Live. And that's why we do the show, because we want people to get you. I want to move you from all that frustration into something positive. Some of you guys are like, I ain't made a sale in 48 years, right? Well, I want you to make a sale this week, because if you knew the stuff that I was teaching here, and if you got a hold of this stuff, your sales game would change. So I want you and I to be on the same page so that we can help you get to that place. So let's just jump into the next one, right? Well, guess what? If it helps us, number 1 and 2, if it helps us, tactics with no context, if it gets in there, determine your approach, then guess what? It shows you how you receive. There are S's on this conversation right now. Some of you guys are high S personalities. There are some high S personalities on this conversation, and my energy is causing you to shrink back a little bit. And that's okay, right? I'm high energy. I do soften up a little bit for you guys, but the S's are naturally on the soft side. I's, we like high energy. We tend to fall asleep if you're boring. I don't want to say that out loud too much, so let this be our secret. If you have an I and they're dozing off, it's because you don't have enough energy for them. So some of you guys who are preachers and you're speaking and you're like, you see people down there doing it and they're just falling asleep, or you're trying to give a sales pitch or sales presentation and they're just kind of dozing off. You don't have enough energy for them, and they're probably an I. D's, they don't want to be around. Matter of fact, most people who are high D personality probably stayed on this whole live for about 3.5 minutes, got what they needed, and jumped off. Most of them. Some of them stay, but most of them do that. Every conversation I've ever had inside my phone with people when they're high D, and I've got several friends, the whole conversation lasts about 15 minutes. I don't think I've ever been on a phone longer than 15 minutes with a high D personality. C's, my wife is a C. You may talk 48 hours, 6,453 questions. It's okay, but it shows how you receive. And how you receive is how you generally give, right? So I receive energy, so I give energy. That's how I receive. Like, I like high energy. I'm not talking about universal energy. So all you guys who are all woo-woo, that's not me. But here's the thing. I'm high energy. I like energy. I give energy. I receive energy. But sometimes I've got to soften, because how you receive isn't how I give. So I got to accommodate a little bit. I hate details, but my wife loves them. So if that's the case, then I've got to accommodate a little bit, because that's her reception. Do you see how this stuff can change and radically change everything you're doing? Just by simple applications. Like, your relationships will get a whole lot better. Your sales will get better. Like, if you're trying to sell to a D, make your pitch in 5 minutes, tell them why their benefits, show them 48 reasons why it works, and then just move on with your life. They're going to make the decision right there. These are things that you and I have to get in order to understand people. When you understand people, you have greater impact. When you have greater impact, you have greater influence, and then which creates greater income. What you can sit there. I literally had this conversation today. You can sit there and honestly lead people to greater sales, teach people, discipleship people, lead people to Christ, whatever that thing is that's really important to you. You can move people from where they are to where you need them to be when you understand that how you receive is how you give, and how you give is not always how they receive. So you have to be able to accommodate them, right? So you get into the places where you understand people. And I'm just going to give a quick shout out to my friends right here. My friends here. There we go. Grow up, the channel grow up. So important to accommodate someone's style, not your own. Absolutely. And then my brother from another mother, we're so grateful you're here. And everybody who's showing up, we're just going to give you a round of applause. Because you matter, guys. And I'm loving my round of applause. Do you like my sounds? Hide my sounds. Say hi. Let me know if you like my sounds. So be curious to see what personality types are compatible for long-term relationships like marriage. That's a great question. I will hit that question up here shortly. Here's what's great. And I appreciate you too, man. I appreciate you coming here. Thank you for doing this. I do this every week. I love it. Love hanging out with you guys. My brother has finally made an appearance. He's been here the whole time, but he finally said something. Yeah, woohoo! See, I love it. I love him. He's so good. All right, let's get back into this because you're here for some value. So here's the deal. And this is what I was talking about, guys. We give pictures. I speak in pictures. I like pictures. I like stories. Stories are fun. Listen, we all receive differently. I just covered this. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but listen, how you talk is how you receive. How you talk is not how everybody else receives. Learn to accommodate. That's what's going to make you feel like that's what going to make them feel like they are important. And the fact is that'll make you feel important because you're going to help more people. They're going to feel great. You're going to feel great, and everything is good. That's how it works, guys. So here's the thing. Let's go with number 4. Number 4. I wish, I need some stuff that goes number 4. One of those things. I'm going to get one of those. I need to find out where to do that. So here's the thing. 4, indicates your design. Indicates your design. Oh my gosh, guys, here's the deal. You don't know how to stay in your lane because you don't know where your lane is, right? There is a problem with that because you don't know your strengths. You don't know your weaknesses, so you don't know where your lane is. And if you don't know where your lane is, you don't know how to stay in there. Some of you guys keep giving relationship advice when you've had 4 failed marriages. You may have wisdom, but staying together may not be the one. And if that offends you, I'm sorry, but we speak real on this show. Some of you guys, let me do this for a second. I'm going to flip this around. We'll put me up for a second. Some of you guys have, we can't move forward, guys, until we do the soapbox moment. I like my soapbox moment. Some of you guys are trying to be business coaches and you've never had a business in your life. Some of you guys are trying to be like, make 6 figures, and you've barely made 3. We've got to get out of this place of we're just trying to, run game and show people something that we want them to see and get into our authentic self and understand that you were created for a purpose. You were created with a design. God did not make a mistake when he made you, but you may not look like everybody else. But guess what? How you look, the world needs how you look, right? And I want you to understand that. So here's the deal. And do me a favor. Please tell me that these things showed up because I want to make sure that they showed up. Last time I did that, it didn't show up. But here's the deal. So if you're going to stay in your lane, you need to know your strengths and weaknesses. How do you know your strengths and weaknesses? By understanding your personality type. Because my strengths may not be your strengths. My weaknesses may be your strengths. So like first and foremost, I'm very strong on camera. I'm very strong talking. If you hung out with me long enough, you've been on my channel, if you've known me, you know the dude likes to talk a lot, right? I get it. My wife doesn't talk as much. My wife is actually more quiet. She's more contemplative, right? That's not a strength. We don't give her microphones because of that. Can she speak? Yes, she can. Does she say really great things? She says some of the most insightful, amazing things. It blows my mind how insightful she is. But here's what I know. Like she's not going to jump on a live like this every single week to be here with you unless I pull her on. Now I'm going to pull her on one day. She's on live with me now, but she doesn't know that, but she knows that now. But I'm going to pull her on. But here's what I can tell you is that you have a strength and your strength may not be my strength, right? And if you are not in your lane, it means you're not living in your strengths because you're trying to be something you're not. That's not how you were created to be. So if you're going to be somebody who is going to live their life and be fulfilled and live at the level of fulfillment, then guess what, guys? That level of fulfillment comes when you live inside your zone, when you live in your lane, when you live on your lane street, whatever that name is, right? Why? Because your greatest strengths are your place of fulfillment. Let me say that one more time. Your greatest strengths are your places of fulfillment. I feel the most fulfilled when I'm talking in front of crowds, when I'm doing trainings like this, when I'm hanging out on lives, and when I'm absolutely around people. That's when I feel the most fulfilled. So if I'm going to stay in my lane, I'm not going to go behind closed doors and teach you how to bookkeep. That's not my lane. I don't want to sit here and tell you, although my wife and I have been married for 20 years and have has been through a lot of different things, and we do offer great advice in the marriage realm. I'm not going to be a marriage counselor. That is not my lane, right? That's nowhere near my lane. But I have advice I can give because I have success there, but it's not my lane. What's your lane? Matter of fact, let me know in the comments. What is your lane? What is your strengths? And I'm going to tell you, your personality are an indicator of your strengths. And if you get to know your personality better, you'll get to understand your strengths better, and you'll understand your weaknesses, and you'll know where to go and you know where not to go. And it's really crazy that there are so many people out there trying to determine their purpose, trying to figure out what's wrong with them because they're in the wrong place. They're like, I feel so out of place. Well, you are in the out of place because you had a good idea, but you didn't have a God idea. You got into a good place, but you didn't get into your place. Did you get that? You got into a good place, but you didn't get into your place because your place was uniquely designed to be for you. And if you are somebody who is feeling off, feeling lost, feeling empty, it's because you're in the wrong place. That's where it comes down to. You're just not in the zone. Get in your lane and stay there, right? Stay in your lane, guys. When you stay in your lane, everything works out. So here, let's get in here and hit some of the comments up, man. Listen, I love it too, man. Grow up, love it, love you here. What we got here? Boop, boop, boop. I am thinking a bow. A bow. Please, Rick, explain a bow about that. All right, let's see. Yes, I can see them. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. We'll do this. We want Mary. We want Mary. We want Mary. Yes, we want Mary too. We're gonna get her. She's gonna get on one time. So here's the other thing. We know Jim likes to talk a lot. That deserves a round of applause. You have just said the most obvious statement. Yes. The epicness of this moment. The epicness. I do like to talk, guys. I do love to talk. So it's okay. It's okay. Let's see what else we got right here. Facebook user. Now, remember, you guys who are on Facebook user who are in my group over there, let me know who you are because I want to give honor to who is here with me. But it says, yes, everything I do these days, I do them out of a fulfillment heart. I love to empower people, especially Rwandan orphans. Oh, that is so beautiful. I love that. That is so beautiful. Let me know who that is because it says Facebook user. I want to know who is empowering Rwandan orphans. I love you already. You're like my new best friend. Sorry, old best friends. So here's the thing. So here we go. My weakness is work. I work independent. That could be a strength. That could be a weakness. But oftentimes our strengths can become our weaknesses. One of the things is understanding that and then pulling people around to actually be a leader and not just somebody who's a doer. That's going to tell you all that stuff. My wife is on. Look at this. One-on-one conversations on my strength, man. I'm going to tell you, there was an old joke that we used to say. It's not a joke. It's really actually really true. And this is going to be something for all you guys. This is my wife's greatest strength, right? Because she says she sits back and listens to all the details. We used to go to church, and every time we went to church, I'm bebopping like 50, 100 people at the church. I'd probably hug everybody's neck, probably twice, talk to them for about 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. And I'm like, yo, we're friends. Like, yeah, right? So here's the deal. My wife would sit down with one person because that's some of her strengths, one-on-ones. And she would sit down this person, always a female. I always recommend if you're ever going to do coaching, counseling, when it's really in deep emotional stuff, women go with women, men go with men, just because you don't want some of the things to happen emotionally. So more on that. We'll do a lot on that because I think that's super important. But here's the thing. She would sit down with some of these ladies and she would go and say, just tell me your story. Within 5 minutes, I kid you not, 5 minutes. This is why staying in your lane is so important. Within 5 minutes, you actually 5 minutes of sitting with my wife. You tell her your entire story. You're both crying and snotting. You pray together. You hug together, and you're best friends for life. Like, this is a superpower of hers. And it happened every single time. And me and my pastor were always like, watch this. Here comes this lady. Mary's going to do this. And it happened every single time. So when you know your lane, when you stay in your lane, guys, and you get to the place where you know your strengths and weaknesses and you stay there, you will be the most fulfilled. Why? Because now you're looking for opportunities, and why your personality matters. This is key. You look for opportunities to do what you do best. right? Like I want to be on, if you host a live show, if you host a podcast, drop me a line and invite me on your show. We will have so much fun on your show, right? That's one of the craziest things because I look for opportunities. If you host an event, a virtual event, drop me a line. I want to be at your event, right? Now, if you're somebody who's looking for one-on-one counseling, coaching, things like that, let's talk. I do have a program about that, but my first and foremost is let's talk out loud in front of people. That is my first and foremost. I do coaching and I do things like this. And you'll see that in a minute because I'm going to give you something for free. I love this guy too. Hey, Marie, I think that's you there. I love you too. You're amazing. You're so amazing. And so, yep, Maria is the one that says she's the one that empowers all the Rwandan orphans. Man, we are going to be praying for you. And I would love to get a conversation with you on how we can come alongside you with that. I love doing things like that. Anyway, here's the last thing, number 5, and then just hang out, guys. I want you to hang out for one more minute after this as we roll this down because I want to give you something for free because I think you're going to love it because I put so much energy into it. I think you're going to love it. But number 5, why your personality matters, it gives insight. And this is really what we've been talking about the whole time. Like, do you know we've been talking for almost an hour? Like, seriously, like this has been fun. And we get into these places where it gives so much insight into who you are, who you're dealing with, because your interactions become predictable. When you have insight and you know your personality, like I can tell you if you're based on your personality, what you're really going to do next. Now, that's not always the case. You don't become a robot. You're not somebody like, well, if they do this, and happens, but it becomes predictable because people have patterns and everybody's pattern can be seen. If you are somebody who are a high S or a high I or, whatever you are, DISC in that, there are predictable patterns. Like I know a C is going to ask me 500 questions for something I've answered twice already. I know an S is going to want to be friends with me. I know an I, we're just going to jive. We're going to have fun. We're going to throw confetti and we'll probably never see each other again until the next time, right? Whatever. A D, they just want to know what the bottom line is. They're going to be like, sum the last hour up in one statement. That's what it's going to be. And I know those predictable patterns. I know that every time I get on a phone call, and it's one of my friends who are high Ds, I know every time that I get on this phone call with them that they're going to be like, okay, let's talk. Okay, this is what I need. This is what you need. All right, boom, 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 we're done. Less than 15 minutes. I've literally clocked it every single time, right? Every single time I've clocked it and I've seen it less than 15 minutes. Very rare am I on a phone with a D longer than 15 minutes. You get an I with me? Oh my gosh. I have friends that like we legitimately are eyes. We schedule a 30-minute talk. 3 hours later, we're done. And this is the problem, right? But it gives you insight on who you are. It gives you insight on what you do. It gives you insight on all of those things. So as we kind of do this, I want to just reset and I'm going to give you something for free. Let's do that. And if you have any questions, listen, if you have any questions, drop them in the line. Rick, I'm going to answer your question in 1 second. Actually, I'll answer it before I talk about the free thing. But here's the thing. So ask your questions. We do this every Friday. Put this on the calendar. Invite people. Like, subscribe the channel over here on YouTube because I put content out every single week. We want to grow this channel. We want to reach more people. We want to impact greater because I want you to become a leader worth following. That's my heart for you guys. I want you to help get over those frustrations in communication, the frustrations you have in interpersonal skills and self-development, all that stuff, and get to a place where you feel fulfilled and you're living how you're designed. So make sure you follow me on the channel. So I want to actually jump back for a second here. If you guys will give me this 1 second, then we'll give you something for free. And then we're going to call it a night. We're going to say amen and those things. So here's the thing. Are there some, are there some movie stars on here that have had 4 marriages? No, let's not answer that question. That's the wrong question I picked up. You didn't see anything. Okay. We didn't see anything, but there was that question that I believe, let's see here. Be curious to see what personality types are compatible long-term relationships like marriage. Okay. So this is kind of one of those things where you can make every personality compatible to a point, which means there are some personalities that are like going to require a whole lot of extra work. Like D's and D's tend to not do well together because they're so independent. D's and S's actually do well together, although the S would get really hurt a lot and the S needs to come up in their own personal, skin in order to be able to handle the D, and the D would have to learn to soften. I'm an I with a C personality. It can be frustrating for us at times. I hate details. She thrives on them. I frustrate her because of that. She frustrates me when she tries to tell me 6 hours worth of 3 minutes worth, tells me 6 hours worth of things. And I just want the cliff notes. Give me 2 minutes worth. Right. So we get those places, because they're opposites. D's and S's are opposite personalities. I's and C's are opposite personalities. I find it that when you get the similar ones, when you're D to D, I to I, S to S, when they're similar, you tend to have a little bit more challenges. Now, like S and S's, it's like if you're an S with an S, here's the thing. You're so shy and you hate conflict so much that when when your wife or your spouse hurts your feelings, you would never tell them because you don't want conflict. You fast forward that 5 years, you're holding on to it. So one day you just explode because you've held so much for 5 years that it just becomes a nightmare. So, I mean, I would hate to say like there's a certain ones that are not compatible. There are ones that are more compatible than others, but I want to be able to tell you that just takes work. And then you were talking, I was taking a bow because of the applause. Oh, I was taking a bow. I thought it said bow. Oh, okay, I got you. So there are more compatible. There are more that are challenging with each other. Like I said, D and D are going to be challenging. Some are very complementary, like a CS are very complementary. ISs are very complementary. I think I's need C's in their lives. D's need S's, things like that. So I hope that gives you a start. We do go more into that in some of my other trainings. So here's the deal. So let's just do this. I'm going to give you something away for free because this is what I want to do for all you guys who really kind of hung out with me. This is what it is. It's a new resource. I just created this the other day. It's the primary resource you need. It's like the only resource you're really going to need to get you introduced and stepped into this. There's so much chalked into this. I try to make my free stuff more valuable than most people's paid stuff. That's how much I put into this. This is going to unpack personality-wise. Somebody else is trying to call me. Who are people calling me? This is going to unpack personality-wise on who you are, what you do, how you do it, all those things. I want you to be able to get to a place where you understand you're able to understand your personality, why your personality matters, and how you can really get into a place where you navigate the personality thing throughout life, right? So if you go to leadwithjim.com, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in the little chat because I can do that, and it does come across. And what that'll do is that'll take you over to the site. It's the first one up there. And all you want to do is just get in there, pull it out, read it. I think I only put it in 10, 15 pages. So all illustrated. So you're not like actually reading in depth, but it's all illustrated. But I'm going to tell you, it's the most insightful thing that you're going to read because you're going to get a better understanding of yourself. And when you understand yourself better, you're going to find your places of frustration. Some of you guys are so frustrated, you don't even know why. This resource will help you understand why you're frustrated. And then I'm going to invite you to take the next step of the journey and let me help you understand and apply DISC in your everyday life. But this is where I want you first. I want you to take this free resource, open it up, apply it, then send me a message on what you thought about it. Let's have those conversations. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and close down now because we are ending our time. I want to stay in time, which is new for me, trying to stay in time because we can go 2-3 hours. I love this stuff. But I do set a certain time for you guys because I want to honor your times because you guys are leaders. And you guys are leaders that are developing to be a leader worth following, to increase your sales, to increase your influence and your impact and all those things. And this is what we do here on the channel. We help leaders like you to become that leader worth following. That's why we do it, guys. That's why we do it. We do this every single Friday from 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time every Friday. New videos are dropped every single week. So during the week, you'll see a 5-minute video. They're not all an hour, but you'll see a 5-minute video. You'll see a 6-minute video each and every week because I'm trying to continue to add value. And then every Friday we do our lives. So yeah, I just had one of those thoughts. You just had those thoughts and you just kind of lost. And you're like, boom. I was like, what happened? So here's the deal. So if you have any last minute questions, I'll go ahead and answer them. But we're going to leave this on a great note and we're going to be like bouncing. I'm loving this, guys. I'm going to get more sounds and we're going to actually put them in better places. But you've been here with me on the Everyday Leader Live. And guess what? This is here for you guys. I want you guys to be leaders worth following. I want you guys to be the most craziest leaders out there. I want you guys to develop to a place where you're selling like crazy because I know most of you guys are entrepreneurs. I want you to either sell like crazy or start your business. And I want you to get out there and have the greatest and healthiest relationships, because relationships is influence, influence is trust, and trust is why people follow you. And that, my friends, is why you are an everyday leader and why you are going to be a leader worth following. And with that being said, my name is Jim Burgoon. Good to see you guys. I will catch you next week as we get out there. We're going to bounce it out, guys. Bounce it out. And remember, follow the channel, share it out, invite people over to kind of hang out with us. With that being said,